if not the best director working today, arguably the best the best director working today, depending on who you ask. Quentin Tarantino. I mean, Quentin Tarantino, he has been a legend. I mean, just put it plainly, he's been a legend in Hollywood. Quentin Tarantino, I mean, whether you're talking about Pulp Fiction, whether you're talking about Inglourious Basterds, whether you're talking about Kill Bill, whether you're talking about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, this guy knows how to make a movie. Every time. Maybe Death Proof. Death Proof aside from Death Proof, Quentin Tarantino knows how to make a movie that pleases his audience. And it's been long rumored. Actually, it's not even rumored because Quentin Tarantino has said it himself. It has been long known for a while, that Quentin Tarantino has this rule of his. It's a weird rule for many directors and for fans of movies, but regardless, it's a rule that he has 10 movies and he's out. That's it. He's only going to do 10. In his entire career, he's only got 10. And he's already done 10, but he counts Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 as one movie. Why does he do that? I don't know. But regardless, in his mind, he's made 9. He is currently on his 10th movie. And he was getting ready. It was ramping up. He was going to be shooting his 10th movie, The Movie Critic. Well, that is not happening anymore. And as a matter of fact, Quentin Tarantino has scrapped his own movie. This comes to us from Variety. And they said, Quentin Tarantino's movies are always full of surprises. And here is one about The Movie Critic that we did not expect. Deadline can reveal that Tarantino has dropped the film as his 10th and final project. He simply changed his mind. Deadpool has been told. Tarantino was going to have Brad Pitt as the principal star, which would have marked their third teaming after Inglourious Basterds and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. There were rumors that many from the cast of his past films might take part, and Sony was preparing to make the film after doing such a superb job on the last one. This is the biggest surprise to Tarantino fans since years back when Deadline revealed he had shelved The Hateful Eight after he gave a small group of actors his script and one of them shared it with their rep. Soon it had been copied with the rough drafts being shared all over town and online. Tarantino felt betrayed, but he eventually returned to the project after staging a reading for charity and drawing raves for it. As for The Movie Critic, originally planned to be his 10th and final film, Tarantino has simply had a change of heart, and Deadpool hears that Deadpool... And Deadline hears that he will not be moving forward with the project. Sources close to the director said he changed his mind and is going back to the drawing board to figure out what the final movie will be. All right, and that comes to us from where Deadline. And I, once again, did not change the title at the bottom of topic 3, so do not get confused by that. It's happened all night. All right, guys. So, Quentin Tarantino. He had a movie. He had a movie ready to go. Now he's not doing it. This is odd, to say the least. I would say this is odd for any other director, but Quentin Tarantino, this makes sense to me as a Quentin Tarantino, because when you look at Quentin Tarantino as a director, he is so meticulous. He is so down to details. He is a perfectionist, for lack of better words. Quentin Tarantino is probably one of the biggest perfectionists in Hollywood. So if something is not up to his standard, he's just not going to put it out for the sake of putting it out or thinking, this is good enough. It needs to be great. That's how you get Django Unchained. That's how you get, all these other great Quentin Tarantino works, Reservoir Dogs and all this stuff, is he puts the time into them to make them great. He doesn't have, I almost said something. He doesn't do half of his job. He does a full job with his work. So to hear that he's not satisfied with the Movie Critic to the point that he just decided, you know what, this isn't it, and because I feel that this isn't it, I'm not even going to do it. It's ballsy, it's bold, but it's Quentin Tarantino all over it. And honestly, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to hear this, because if Quentin Tarantino is in fact going to stick to 10 movies, no more, no less, I want the final one to be great. The last thing I want for Quentin Tarantino, and as a fan of Quentin Tarantino, is for him to put out a movie, call it his final one. This is the last Quentin Tarantino movie that you will ever see with your eyeballs in your lifetime. I'm done after this one. and have it be lackluster, or have it just be okay, or have it be at the bottom of the totem pole of his movies. Now, it's a lot to ask from the guy. Absolutely, it's a lot to ask from the guy. But I want this to be my number one Quentin Tarantino movie. And I know that's unfair. I know it's unfair to say. I know that sets expectations high. Regardless, I want this to be number one. If this is going to be his final one, if this is his 10th one and final one, I want it to be number one in my ranking of Quentin Tarantino movies. So, the fact that he's now completely canceled the movie and he's going back to the drawing board and trying to come up with a brand new idea, which means we won't get another Quentin Tarantino movie for another couple years now, that part kind of bums me out. But I love seeing an artist really take their work this seriously. Now, to put on my little tinfoil hat a little bit as to why Quentin Tarantino had a change of heart. Well, going further into this article, they talk about how sources apparently close to Quentin Tarantino have said that this movie was going to have Brad Pitt in it, but he was going to be the character from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And in fact, this movie was supposed to be set in the world of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and that he was going to have other characters from his past movies show up in this movie. Now, whether or not those are true, those are all rumors. If that was what Quentin Tarantino was doing, knowing how Quentin Tarantino is so old school with filmmaking and how much he loves the classics and the classic of film, I feel like if he was crafting a story that was starting to mold into like a Quentin Tarantino cinematic universe, or like a combination of all his work was going to come out just like kind of everything else that we're getting nowadays, because there's no shortage of cinematic universes out there. I could see that being the reason why Quentin Tarantino looked at his project and was like, I'm just making something that's going to feel very generic to me. This doesn't feel unique in the world of movies right now. Maybe that's why he scrapped it. I don't know. That's just me looking into it. All I know is that it's very rare that you hear of a director who wrote a movie, was getting ready to shoot the movie, and before filming begins, he just scraps it. But I respect Quentin Tarantino as a director. I respect him as an artist. And a story like this, as a fan of Quentin Tarantino, just reminds me why I respect the guy so much. Well, thank you very much for checking out this clip from our live show that we do every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time called Zach Milne Talks Live. If you like talking movies, if you like talking movie news, why don't you consider hitting that subscribe button before you leave? We do that on this channel all the time. But if you still need some time before you fully commit, you can check out the full video this clip is from right here, and you can check out another video over here. The subscribe button's right here.